Okay, the stream has started. Which accepts it? Which has accepted the
Facebook.
YouTube has accepted the Facebook has accepted the
Good.
throw the switch.
Okay, here we go.
Tell me when the red light goes on.
On.
Hear the clapper, you're on the air, okay?
All right. Hello, folks. This is DJ Brass Knuckles here, Richard Jazowski here, doing show number 169 on Sunday, January 29th, 2023. And this is going to be my special edition number 3 show here, where I'm going to deal with a few issues. But before I do, okay, let me just get back to my stuff on here real quick. Okay, I'll try to move this along as quick as I can here. First off, I want to thank Think Twice Radio for letting me be on the air here. I appreciate it greatly, again, as always. Love to members of my family, my sister Audrey, her daughters Christina, Melinda, and her son Zachary, my brother Thomas and family there, my brother Pete and his daughter Selena, and Pete Jr., his son. I also love, as always, to my late mother and my now late Aunt Rose, both. My Uncle Andrew's also passed away, so I love to him as well. And my Uncle Andrew, who's still around, hopefully. I also want to thank Rob Nesbitt and Pamela Swartz for their support, continuing support. And, okay, now, I'm going to be talking about several things here. One of the things, well, actually, okay, let me get started with a few other things. Of the cameras over real quick here, because got something to do here real quick. Stuff over here real quick. Let me put the camera over here. All right. Once again, I'm going to start by supporting WBNY 91.3 FM, the only Buffalo's original alternative, the only radio station in Buffalo that actually supports Buffalo the right way. 97 Rock and the Edge used to do it when the Edge was the Fox. They were doing it 30 years ago, but they've stopped doing it, and I'm really hoping they'll get back to it. And I apologized to them on my last show about this, and I'm hoping they'll, accept that apology and, make an attempt to get some local music back on the show, because I've already identified them by that. Let me see. I have other things to do here. Okay, let me just bring my stuff over here real quick here, because time is pressed against me over here right now, and I want to kind of get going on this. All right. As always, this here real quick. As always, once again, I'm going to mention this here. When the phony Buffalo wins, the true Buffalo dies. I'm going to bring that subject up a little bit here later on here. Okay, as always, go to cable channel 1302 in Buffalo, New York here. There's 1302. You can look for that sign there. It's on both shows. I'm doing my podcast and internet public access TV shows on that channels on Tuesday night and Thursday night at midnight. And I hope you get a chance to watch those shows, and I hope you get a chance to watch this one here. I ship it off to you. You won't probably see this show until next year, so unfortunately. So because I got a whole block of shows set up for each month, so everything's all set, pretty much all set there. Most of my shows can be on YouTube. And before I get to YouTube, let me just talk to you once again. I'm hoping you'll, give me some comments, positive, negative feedback on that, whether you like the show or not. I really would like you to press the like button too, if you even like the show at all. I'd appreciate if you'd put it on there, and also if you could share it with other people as well. So I'm hoping you get a chance to do that. I don't know about the Buffalo Music Archive thing on YouTube over here. Because like most of my shows are on YouTube, including the last show, one of the shows I put on from December. I just put that on YouTube recently, so I hope you got a chance to watch that. And again, like I said, I'm hoping that the people at the Buffalo Music Archive are going to clean that area up there, because it needs a lot of cleaning. Hoping to get done with this on this. Hope they get done with that. So, okay, like I said, there's a lot. I've shown you some of the musicians on there. There's some of the websites over here. The page full of websites over here on here. Can't see it too well right now, and I'm kind of rushed for time right now because it's a late start again. Really hoping to get an earlier start, but took too long on this thing. That's my fault there. That's on me. Yeah, like I said, there's Buffalo Music Archive. And let's see here. Oh. Shit this over here like this. All right. Okay, let me see here. Okay, like I said, I already mentioned WBNY, so we got to take care of that. 1302, I got to take care of that. Okay, I'm going to start with the birthday thing again here. And unfortunately, I didn't bring the Mom and Dad Parade CD with like I usually do. Well, maybe it's in here. I don't know. I got to check my bag. So in the meantime, let me give you this right now and get you ready for the birthday song here. So this is it right here. Oh, not happy birthday! Okay, let's try this one more time. Get a little quicker in there. Okay, we'll try one more time here.
Oh, not happy birthday. No, not that. Please, no, not happy birthday.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Turn that off real quick here. I'm going to have to do it quick here. All right. So I'm going to start off here with the Mom and Dad Parade. And the song is called the Happy Birthday Song here on Something Different in Buffalo here on Think Twice Radio. I got to wait until I get up over here and see if this goes. Okay, that was the Mom and Dad Parade with the song, the Happy Birthday song there. And unfortunately, I got, like I seen a little picture here I made a few years ago over at downtown. doing some watercolor stuff there, so I just want to do that. Okay, another thing I wanted to bring up real quick here is as usual, I want to bring up the Buffalo Central Terminal. I forgot to talk about real fast over here. And like I said, it's very magnificent structure. Let me just give you some quick picture looks at it here real fast because I got a lot to do here and I'm running out of time, so I got to make sure I get as much of this done. Normally I would have Rodney Dangerfield on here, but I got some serious issues I need to talk about. There's one of them there. Excuse me. And there's another one there. Give you a seconds worth of this stuff here so you get a chance to look at it. Okay. That's what it looks like. That's what the inside looks right now. There's still a work in progress, but once that happens, we hope to see. Voila. Something like that. So I hope you get a chance to watch that. Hope you can do everything what you can to support. I realize you don't need major money bags over here to take care of this thing, but it can be done. It's a feasible project, and we'll definitely bring back the east side if they put crimes and everything around that area. Might get this project going back again. There's another thing with the clock again. So it's really up to the people on the east side. I realize they're having difficult times over there, but still, committing crimes is not the answer to the problem over here. It's going to keep it more deserted over there. And one more last time here with a more colorful shot at this thing. So I hope you get a chance to enjoy that. Okay. All right. I got that much done here. And what else I got here? Okay, I got the True Buffalo thing already done, so that's already taken care of there. I was going to talk about the Buffalo Bills because they lost again. They're not in the Super Bowl again, or even in championship games. So I don't want. I've been taught when I talk about this issue. I've been bringing this issue up before, and I keep telling you they need athletes from Buffalo over here, and they keep in their mentality. They always think I'm only saying one They think I'm telling them they need to put one athlete, but you got to put several athletes on there. Then you put some non-Buffalo athletes around them to, be a little. I was going to put something out here to kind of explain that a little bit better because they can act like a barrier as sorts, to kind of, run interference for the Buffalo athletes so they can Buffalo athletes get a clear position to get a better position to get into scoring position or whatever. So, and I forgot I left out one of the most important ingredients in this thing because I've been talking about the Buffalo athletes and I've also been talking about the music from Buffalo musicians. But there's been one thing I've been neglecting over the years here, and that's basically the thing that would make God happy. Because basically, you need to put on the full armor of God, and to understand that, you need one of the things that keeps this team from winning is you don't have the armor of God on your possession over there. One of the things of the armor of God, which I have on my phone over here, in the Bible book over here, says, "Stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist." Now, that statement right off the bat there tells you your problems in here in Buffalo because, simply put, there's nothing Buffalo about your team. I've complained about this over and over again. I've told you over and over again. You keep playing games over here. You sign up you put the Buffalo athletes on the team briefly over here. You don't even let them get any summertime practice during the summer sessions. Then you cut them 2 weeks later, and then you sit there and boast about how they're not doing the job for you. You're supposed to be guiding them along and teaching them and giving them some help and encouragement and whatever you got to do over there. So, you already got one strike against you, and then the belt of truth because you have no truth to your team. There's nothing truthful about your team at all. You're not from Buffalo. All this other stuff you're talking about is nothing more than Satan's wishes, not Buffalo, not God's. And that kind of disturbs me about these churches here, sitting there. They're always saying "Go Bill." Like I see signs around their churches saying "Go Bills" and all this stuff over here. I think these churches should know better by now. God's not going to worship a false idol. He keeps telling you over and over again. You should know this by now, churches, not to worship false idols. That doesn't mean that should these people start doing this thing the right way and putting athletes from Buffalo on this team over here, that doesn't make it a false idol right away, unless you worship them more than you worship God. But it would please God to know that there's at least an honest team on this being fielded here in Buffalo. And that leads to the next thing over here, the breastplate of righteousness in place. Now, because the breastplate is connected to the belt, and if I'm not totally familiar with the Roman Empire and their dress codes and everything like that, but righteousness of one, there's another label here that keeps you away from, doing the right thing around here for a lot of things for sport, especially in sports. And also, your feet should be readied with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. Well, that's, like I said, peace is something you need to do, but you have to tune it in with the athletes and everything else like that. Because sometimes the best solution to a problem can become when you have a little more peaceful attitude inside yourself. You discover solutions you never knew about before. Okay, in addition to all this, take up the shield of faith with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. And that includes the evil cities like Miami, Dallas, Kansas City. Believe it or not, they're not that great righteous either. And Pittsburgh and others, Canada, other places like that. And there's other things over here. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of spirit, which is the word of the God, And because you don't have pretty much any of these things available over here, God can't look at you in a righteous way like this. So it kind of disappoints me that these churches, are not more in tune with all this, pay more attention to what, doing the right things around here. And it still starts with getting athletes from Buffalo on this team because, simply put, I'm not supporting this team. I'm not going to support any of these teams. The Bills, the Sabres, whatever, The Bandits are a Canadian team, basically. So I'm not bothering with them anymore. And, you about 5-10 years ago, you made an attempt, at least an honest attempt to try to get athletes from Buffalo. Sabres had at least 3 or 4 players from Buffalo on their team. They had Patrick Coletta and Brian Gianta and a couple other players. They were making some progress, and they just gave up they gave up because they expected more of these Buffalo athletes than they should have expected. But when actually there's this team game, and you had to get some talent around these Buffalo athletes here so they could perform up to the level that Patrick Kane was working at for years. See, that's the reason why Patrick Kane was popular, because he had a lot of talent around him. A lot of it wasn't from Buffalo, of course, but still, they provided enough distractions over here that allowed Patrick Kane to get free and do the things he knows how to do. And that's what you Buffalo sports teams got to take care of right over here. And that also includes the so-called Buffalo radio stations around here, too. You got to get some more Buffalo music again back, folks. I already mentioned 97 Rock and The Edge about this, and, I'm hoping they'll get back to doing this, because they were, when I first did this report years ago, in the Buffalo County Council Radio Access report here I helped make with with Councilmember David Franczak. Well, if I can find it real fast here. Of course, I can't find it real fast. There it is right there. Okay, let me just show that to you real quick. Okay, I've showed this to you once before, folks. And I'm going to do a little something more here because, see, the whole reason this came over here is because of these statements right here. This is what Anthony Violante first came up with on this stuff over here. He did this over here. He told you, and what Danny Sandpaper Face Neverth on his oldie station didn't say about this, Well, he mentioned it briefly. He said they didn't get a good grade. He was right about that. In fact, the radio stations in Buffalo here did not get a good grade, but he kind of skipped over the reason why they didn't get a good grade, and it wasn't because of what the content, like I said before on one of my previous episodes over here, it wasn't because of the comment. A lot of that had a lot to do with it. But the main reason is because they're not playing music from Buffalo and West New York musicians over here. Now you're seeing Joe Public right over here. Let me move this up a little closer here so you get a chance. That's Joe Public. They're from the East Side. They were popular for about 20, 30 years ago, 30 or 40 years ago. That's when I first heard them, way back in the early 80s, before I came to Buffalo, New York over here. So I knew about them, and I told the Bisons about it, and they played the song "Live and Learn" by the Joe Public one time and one time only, and that was first, last, and only time we heard anything from these people. So from this band, and they're ignoring other bands too, like Brian McKnight, the late Grover Washington Jr., Spyro Gyra, Gamelan, 10,000. Well, I'm talking about. Let me talk about the African American version of this. Like you got Brian McKnight, you got Joe Public, you got the late Grover Washington Jr., and yet all these people can play is Rick James. He's not the only nationally known recording artist that's of African American heritage. And this kind of stuff has been going on, as you can see from the date up here, July 3rd, 1992. This is when I first read this article over here. When I first read this article, I put it away because I was focused on the sports teams of Buffalo at the time. And it had the Buffalo soccer team, like the Buffalo Blizzard, had, performed better and got some championships and showed some gumption out there. I would have been supporting them a lot longer. But after, when the very next year, almost a year to the date later, like this is another piece of the material right here from this page over here. Almost a year to the day later, let me see if I can find it real fast here. Yeah, right here. In May of 1993, Anthony Violandi did a follow-up on this thing. And once again, little or nothing had changed over here. They put these on here like so. Let me see if I can find the other stuff over here I was supposed to find. Let's see. Where is this? There it is. And as you can see right there, none of them got a very good grade on this thing. Now, Danny Sandpaper-Faced Netherlands, admitted that there was no grade. The grades were not good. And the only real grade here was for a Canadian channel over here. But what's not mentioned over here is WBNY 91.3, although they did mention it. Anthony Violenti did mention that in his report, and we mentioned it on this state radio report here. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to start reading a few pages from this thing because I want you to understand why we went through all this. See, this is the main reason why, folks, because this happened in 1993, May of 1993. 1 year earlier, in July of 1992, this article first came out. And they're telling you, and Anthony Violenti said at that time, these radio stations do not play music from Buffalo and West New York musicians here. And I used to say at one time, why would they, why would they not, how could they say it's illegal to support Buffalo and Buffalo? And as I told you one of my previous shows here recently, I found out the reason why, because the FCC has gotten rules and regulations over here based from the federal government over here that prohibits music from Buffalo musicians being played in Buffalo, New York. At least that's the content of this thing, because that's what they've been using that FCC documents over there, rules and regulations over here, to try justifying this racist attitude of theirs. And make no mistake about it, government, United States of America, that's racism. Racism is brainwashing, it's drug addiction, it's every worst thing you could possibly have around over here. And that's what they do, not just in Buffalo, New York, but in all other cities in this country, I'm willing to bet too. So I suggest United States of America and FCC, I suggest you look over those rules again a little more closely and study them a little bit more. Because I'm telling you right now, the stations like Kiss My Ass 98.5, they're running their mouth over here telling that they hate Buffalo. They don't even want to support Buffalo. They're not here to support Buffalo. They're only here to make a profit. And if that's what those rules and regulations are all about, then you're guilty of promoting racism in this country. Racism is never going to die because of actions like this. Bottom line. Because we made this report here, and it clearly states on that. As a matter of fact, let me start reading a few. I'm going to start reading a few pages from you right now on this because I want you to understand this. First off, it starts off with the table of contents over here. The Radio Access Committee, what our function is over here. It says it can't happen here. A brief history of popular music in Buffalo. The survey results. What is local, by the way? The general results. The level of repetition. The individual stations that were monitored during that time period between 1993 and 1994. And we had a report from an award that was honoring Stan Zales, one of the musicians from Buffalo and Western New York, who was popular in his day. Then we had some recommendations on this, and all below this was the appendixes of the council resolutions. The second appendix was a list of local bands. And then on this page right here, this is the Radio Access Committee over here. And we had, let me bring it up to you real quick here. My name is in there, as you can see. There you go. Okay, there's the members appointed by the radio. Now, Pauline Delgado James, she's still a musician. She still performs. She was at the Buffalo Music Art Festival last year. Rick Falkowski, James Folan, Kim Gipp, Timothy Baugh, me. There I am right there. Cindy Cheryl Littlejohn, Lynn Patansky, and Paul Perensky, or Peronsky, I guess, are both, and Coco Wozniak. And then we were part of that committee over here. Now, here's the article here. It says the Radio Access Committee was formed by the Buffalo Common Council in the fall of 1992 in response to a perceived dearth of radio airplay for musicians from Buffalo and West New York, local musicians. Council resolutions on this subject are included in Appendix A. The council feels that a vibrant local music scene is important, both to the culture and the economy of the city and the area. Local radio can play a profound role in nurturing and exposing music from Buffalo and West New York musicians. The council's designated mission for the committee is to develop awards for local music radio stations that play local music. Now these so-called Buffalo radio stations, they're all poo-pooing this thing, they're just blah blah blah. They're considered as blah 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 to them, but it's important to us, folks, because it's more important than you can realize over here. And supporting Buffalo musicians is a way of making the people of Buffalo feel good about themselves, because it tells us that we have talent, we have intelligence, we can create good music, and it sounds just as good as all this national stuff over here. And because of that statement over here, these so-called Buffalo radio stations over here are sitting there saying, well, we won't support them because they're not nationally known. And I've already said there's close to 20 musicians from Buffalo and West New York. I can only rattle off several of them at one time over here. Anya Franco, Brian McKnight, Clint Holmes, from way back when, in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. He had that song Playground in My Mind, Clint Holmes. Who else? Oh, man, there's so many over here. Joe Public, Brian McKnight. I've already mentioned Brian McKnight, I think. Excuse me. The late Grover Washington Jr. I think I mentioned Joe Public again, so I'll mention him again here. They had the Brotherhood Nation, a band that got a national record label, as well as Tanya Diona. She was in Buffalo for a while, and she went to New York City, where she furthered her career over there. And apparently she got on a record label. So she's gotten some exposure in a national but known city. And Brian McKnight, I've told you about him before. I seen him on the AM Buffalo TV show way back in the early 1990s when he first started off his musical career. After that, I didn't see or hear anything about him for about 10 or 15 years before I heard one of his songs. And that pretty much tells you how racist these radio stations are in Buffalo, because they refuse to play people like Brian McKnight, Joe Public, the late Grover Washington Jr. Those are three of the major nationally known artists that are of African American descent over here, and WBLK won't even put these people on the air. They're sitting there saying they play the Rick James all the time. Rick James has passed away a long time ago. They're still trying to play his music, but his music is really decadent, really, to be honest with you. It isn't that great. Even when I was listening to him in the early 80s and 90s on this thing, when he first came out on the scene, you know, even when I was listening to his lyrics, the lyrics alone were pretty much raunchy to begin with. And everybody's trying to justify all this stuff right here. I'm kind of rambling a little bit here, so let me get back to this page over here quick. Okay, now, like I said, Council's designated mission for the committee is to develop awards for local radio stations that play local music, otherwise Buffalo music from Buffalo and West Area musicians, defined as music played or written by musicians from the counties of Erie, Niagara, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Allegheny, Wyoming, Orleans, and Genesee. After carefully researching the local music scene and designing a method for surveying the stations, the committee began logging local airplay in October and November of 1993. And I had a part of that myself, like I've been telling you before. I did this before. And they just, oh boy. This is wearying. I mean, because I'm, like, you see this here, this whole area is being affected by this racist attitude from these so-called Buffalo radio stations over here. This whole area here is being raped to death by these so-called Buffalo radio stations on this thing. They brainwash you to hate Buffalo. They tell you that you won't like the music when they pass themselves off as judges. They pass themselves off as God, thinking they're God's gift to the race over here, and they refuse to support the music scene in Buffalo around here. And they have no right to judge anybody on this thing. They're not the qualified judges. They're playing the same tired music over. They're no different than the radio stations way back in the 1940s and 50s. They played the same tired music year in and year out until even the kids were getting bored with it too. That's why rock and roll became popular, because everybody was getting bored with all the other stuff. And no offense to the people from the 1940s and 50s, but they didn't promote their music properly. They just kind of went along with everything like that and just accepted it like it was, and then nobody bothered paying attention to the children or anything like that, and until rock and roll exploded onto the scene. And then shortly after that, the stuff from Detroit, the music scene from Detroit came along and added more fire to the thing over here. And the bottom line between all this is, you see, even those musicians from all that time, they all started off the same way Buffalo musicians do. They started off as garage bands or individual performers who went to bars and places like that, trying to earn some money so they can save up some money and go get maybe a record deal with somebody, or at least travel to other cities so they could promote their music a little bit more. And the radio stations in Buffalo here could have helped them out a great deal by playing some of their music. Not everything was great, obviously, but there was still there's still a lot of good stuff. And I know because I have over close to 1,000 songs alone, just on the verbal range. I have a whole about almost twice that much instrumental music on that. And a lot of it sounds just as good, if not better, than some of the nationally known stuff that you got on the air today for the last 50 and 60 years. Because they went to their grassroots performances like that, and they went to do the grassroots sort of thing like that. So, and the only radio station that does this, like I've said before, I've shown this before, so let me just try to shield it one more time here real quick. And lower us down. This is the only radio station that's in Buffalo that supports supported these musicians the right way. Now, they just recently started once again playing the local show again on Friday night for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours with this one band they had. I can't remember the name of the band, unfortunately. I had the name on my phone over here, but I don't remember the band off. I think it was Jupiter, something like that, but I can't remember the actual name. And I'm hoping those guys, that band was from Buffalo and Western New York. I would like to believe they are. And I'm hoping, I sent them a message now. I'm hoping now, since they're starting this again, they could start expanding their local show a little bit more and start playing some music from Buffalo bands that are performing in places like Mohawk Place, the Sportsman Tavern, Tapos in downtown Buffalo, and a few other places like that. Mohawk Place. I'm hoping they'll get around to doing that again because, like I said, music scene has to stay alive, and they have to keep it going over here. And I'm doing what I can to help it out along when I can. And I'm, like I said, at the Edge and 97 Rock, we get back to getting the Buffalo Papers program on again, and Licks from Buffalo Licks program on there that they had. Restart that again and put it on a weeknight, like Thursday night or Friday night or something like that. Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, something like that. Give the larger community a chance to hear this music. Okay, let me move on real quick here because I want to read a couple more pages here before I get to some music here. Okay, now this is a fable that was written by Coco Wozniak, as you can see, in February 1994. Let me see if I can bring it up for you here. Once upon a time, many years ago, in a land that time forgot, there dwelled a people whose lives were filled with music, art, mirth, and beauty. It had always been thus, so they assumed it would always continue, and they took for granted the benefits and joy that they had in their life. But in that complacency lay the seed of their downfall, where life dealt them some low blows, and instead of rallying, they wallowed in their reverses and became cynical and disparaging. Suddenly they were known for their negative climate. Pervasive gloom encouraged the wicked warlocks to emerge, and they took over all that was indigenous, and cast their evil spells over the kingdom. Soon all that could be heard was the sounds of 20 years hence, and those sounds grew dull as repetition drained the life from them. The droning enveloped the spirits of the citizens of the kingdom, and daily they became more and more closed of mind. The kingdom was now only identified by its mediocrity and isolation. Those citizens who could escape ranged other countries far and wide, taking their art with them. They were lauded for their talents everywhere but in their own kingdom, where they were prophets without honor. Those talented citizens who stayed and tried to enrich the lives of their fellow inhabitants were held in contempt by the evil warlocks who would not see beyond the ends of their noses and refused to upset their status quo and concede their advantages. Thus, be not like these people. Have esteem and reverence for the talent that dwells in your kingdom, for if you don't, enrichment and enlightenment will pass and be superseded by coarseness and ignorance. The droning and monotony that will follow will drive out all the pleasure, and decadence will triumph. Very good statement, very good letter there. It basically tells you about Buffalo as a whole here. She was basically talking about Buffalo here. That's the way it is in Buffalo around here. Basically, it's a dull, closed-minded society over here. And that's why Buffalo sports teams can't win, because you follow the same pattern over here, and you're closed-minded all the time. You don't even support your own people. You're a bunch of hypocrites. So, I want to play a few songs here. I've played these before on my show, but unfortunately I couldn't get the time over here. Couldn't get the time together like I wanted to on this. Just shrink down a little bit more here. There's a lot more to talk about on this thing. I just covered a little portion of this here because there's a little bit more. There's a lot more to talk about in this thing. I'm going to do this in my next show as well. I'm going to read this report to you. Now, I'm sure evil radio stations like Kiss My Ass 98.5 and Moldy's 104 and their disc jockeys, they'll do everything in their power to tell you not to listen to me over here, watch or listen to me on this thing. Well, that's up to you folks, But you got to, like I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to keep getting losing over and over again. Because everybody knows about you, you're predictable. And you definitely don't support. You're a bunch of hypocrites. You don't support your own people like you're supposed to, and you don't teach them how to be better people. So that's really up to you folks. So with that all in mind here, I'm going to start playing some music from Buffalo and West York musicians. Well, before I do, I want to talk about one person here. I believe he's a musician. His name is Joe Head. I met him at the not the Infringement Festival, but the Allentown Phony Art Festival. And he was performing with Rick Smith at Nietzsche's, doing a little sideshow over there for the while the main as a relaxing moment as a temporary movement for the before the main actor performed. And he and Rick Smith were performing there. And I believe I just read in a Facebook page over here that I believe his wife of 36 years passed away. Now, if that's true, and that he is that musician, and that his wife passed away for 36 years, I'm going to devote this song that I believe he made. And let me make sure I get the name of it here real quick. Here, is it here? Oh, okay, it's called Driftwood. It's a very beautiful song, and I'm going to use. I'm going to show some scenes from my Aunt Rose, my late Aunt Rose's place that she lived in. Just some backgrounds, her backyard mostly. And wish I could have taken some pictures of her entire house, but I just didn't think about it at the time. And by the time I did think about it, she was making me leave because she said she had a grandchild that was coming over here to live with her. But I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm going to play this song by Joe Head. It's called, what is it name? Driftwood over here. Just set it up real fast here. Okay. And this is the song Driftwood by Joe Head. I hope, and I hope this is same Joe Head, whose wife passed away of 36 years ago. So I hope you appreciate this. So let me get this set up over here. And if I can do this, okay. I'm going to start the song, and I'll start the brief slideshow here. So hope you enjoy this. This is Joe Head with Driftwood on Something Different in Buffalo here on Think Twice Radio here. And let me set it right here. Come on. Where are you? Oh, it would help if I did it right.
I look for you like a fire looks for fuel, like a lookout for a beacon in a storm. Each passing day made me wonder if the way of this narrow road would always seem so cruel. Like a memory of kindness felt long forgotten. You came into the place where dreams used to go, a place where love is seen, and only those who see that dream seem to go. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see the light of your love as it burns. I can feel the warmth of the flame, and that will be the same no matter which way this whole world might turn. You came into the place where dreams used to go, a place where love is seen, and only those who see that dream seem to go. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see the light of your love as it burns. I can feel the warmth of the flame, and that will be the same no matter which way this whole world might turn. Like a memory of kindness felt long forgotten. to the place where dreams used to go. A place where love is seen, and only those who see that dream seem to go. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can see the light of your love as it burns. I can feel the warmth of the flame, and that will be the same no matter which way this old world might turn.
Okay, that was the song Joe by Joe Head.
I look for you.
Okay, this is the song Joe Head by Joe Head called hang on a second here. Get it right here. I had it here. Okay, Driftwood. And I apologize for the pictures there. Those are pictures from my late Aunt Rose's backyard when she had her place before she was forced to leave because of her health conditions and because she lost her hearing. So I hope that it will help in some small way for Joe Head and his wife and the passing of his wife. I'm hoping that's the same Joe Head. If it is, I hope this helped out a little bit. If not, I apologize for doing that. Okay, I don't know how much time I've got left here. I've got about 10 minutes left here. So let me do a little quick song here. Let me see if I can find this real fast here. Let's see. I prayed. Okay. Let me see here. Let me play Still Waters by Susan Rosler one time here real quick. Play as real quick here as I can.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me to wander into the woods and lets me lie down by still waters, and it's good. Troubled with cares of the world, I'll place all my burdens behind me. As I pray to the Lord, He gives me peace. There in my heart, God will find me, and it's good.
Okay, that was Susan Rosler with the song Still Waters. And okay, I'm going to move along quick as I can here. Okay, I'm going to start. Unfortunately, because I talked too long here, so I'm going to spend some time, a few quick songs here from the Buffalo and Western music scene over here. This is basically for these people here like David Franzak and all that here. So, or not David Franzak, but Danny St. Paperface Neverth, his buddy over here. And let me play something from the Pine Dogs here. It's called Moving Pictures here on Something Different in Buffalo, here on Think Twice Radio. Okay, that was the Pine Dogs there, one of the bands Danny Sandpaperface and they've crapped on over the years, especially on that paperwork you just saw over here. And I got a little something for them on this thing, so let me just...
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Again.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, and here's Kiss My Ass 9.5.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
All right, I keep going over here.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, let's keep going over here. Let me just slide this pit back here. Man, both cameras seem to be... See, I'm trying to... Somehow getting both cameras at the same time when I do this. What the story is on that. All right, hang on here. Let me just do a little quick... let me do a little few other things real fast here because I want to get this done as quick as I can over here. All right, let me do this here. See if I can get this here real quick here. All right, here we go like that.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, and here we go again here.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Here we go again here. Okay.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, and here we go with this here.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, here we go here.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Right, and here.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
All right. Okay.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, here we go.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, and one more here.
What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil! What do you want from us? We're evil! Evil!
Okay, well, I hope you get the point on that thing, folks. I'm getting a little tired of talking about these people over here. Let me just close this off here. And let me see what I got here. Got the Pine Dogs, got that. Let me see here. Do I have Mark Freeland? No, let's see. Mark Freeland. I was going to put Mark Freeland, Natalie Merchant on there, but apparently not. Okay, well, let me see. Let me do a little Mr. Big real fast over here.
Cover your play, making up the right line.
Okay, well, that's about enough for this program here, and I was hoping to get this camera zoomed up a little faster. Okay, there it is. Okay, well, that's yet another portion here of my episode over here, my story here. There's a lot more to talk about. I'm going to be doing a lot more reading of this Bach material here, race report here. So this is DJ Brass Knuckles, Something Different in Buffalo here on Something Different in Buffalo. And thank you for listening, and I hope you check it out. And support the true Buffalo as always. Make supporting the true Buffalo the priority, not the minority. Don't settle for substitutes. Have a good night, and see you later, I hope.